forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit.
As it was in the beginning, shall be, world without end. Amen.
This morning we have with us Reverend Dr. Ivan, a professor of St. Peter's Institute, as well as specialist in canon law. He is here to give us the first talk of this day and the third session of this meet, especially focusing on the pastoral care of the families in the light of Amoris Laetitia. We have from Pope Francis. Hereby I invite Father Xavier to introduce Father Raipa, and I invite Father Raipa to the stage.
We are very happy and privileged to stand before you to introduce such a great person, the person of Reverend Dr. who is a canonist and the president of St. Peter's Pontifical Institute. I mean to say that he is really true a versatile person. Whenever we used to get a seminary timetable, we used to always search for this canon law classes. Who is taking for this canon law classes? If it is Father Raipa, we used to be very happy. He is a good TT player, table tennis. You always used to challenge brothers. If there is anyone who can be over me, but very few have succeeded. Whenever he comes to class, he used to say, playing TT is very easy for me. Canon law is more simpler than that. Playing TT is very easy for him. Canon law is more simpler than that. He simply carries that canon law book, but he has already a canon law within himself. Canon law. He never opens the book. Very rarely we see him opening the code of canon law and speaking. He quotes the canon by himself. Though he is a canonist, but in fact, he is a man who fell in love with Scripture, but married canon law. I'm just quoting his statement, what he says. He has a great love for Scripture, and he has read the whole Bible twice or thrice, and he has also read the Bible very prayerfully, and he has put forth in a CD, and it is all over India. Many Tamil-speaking people are using that Scripture which he has read very prayerfully, and he has also brought out in CD form now the prayer of the church, the breviary which we pray, that also he has brought out. He is a very sort of person for canonical advisors to solve with canonical issues. He has written many articles, and in journals many articles are coming. He was also instrumental in translating the code of canon law into Tamil. That is also used widely in Tamil-speaking region. So he is a very competent person. He is though he is specialized in canon law, but he takes utmost interest and he prepares so much with dedication and commitment. Whatever is given to him, he does with full sincerity and commitment. So I'm sure that he is a capable person to speak to us. So in the name of all the fathers gathered here, and in view of our lecture window, I welcome you for this talk. Thank you.
Good morning, fathers. First of all, thank you for Richard for inviting me to be part of this animation for the Junior Clergy of Karnataka. The remnant is here present, and still we are very happy that you have come here. Some of the students who studied outside St. Peter's, I am new to them. them all the best in the pastoral ministry. My students are very sympathetic to me and very loving and kind to me. I invite you also to listen to this talk or sharing. The Holy Father has come out with the post-synodal apostolic exhortation, which was signed on March 19th and then published on April 8th this year. We are really fortunate to receive such a document. There may not be extraordinarily new things, but then the new approach of the Holy Father must touch our hearts and must shape our pastoral ministry also. Ecumenical council has been held right from the early church. Council of Jerusalem, especially Council of Nicaea and Second Vatican Council, ecumenical councils. Council in which all the bishops of the world are members and only bishops can participate. Synod of Bishops is the creation of Vatican II. Periodically, representatives of the bishops should meet to discuss problems that are very crucial, very much affect the church. And then from 1967 onwards, we have been having a number of synods, representatives of all the bishops. Synods may be ordinary synod or extraordinary synod. We had recently, 2014, extraordinary synod on family. Earlier, once we had on 20 years of Vatican II, and then relationship between Pope and the bishops, episcopal conferences. Like this, some extraordinary synods were there. Most of the other synods were ordinary synods that met in General Assembly. In addition, there were also synods which were special assemblies for special regions, like we had during the turn of the millennium, the Synod of Asia. The document was Ecclesia in Asia, that document. But most of the General Assembly synods, right from the beginning, we had a number of synods, for example, one on evangelization, Evangelium Nuntiandi, is the post-synodal apostolic exhortation. One on catechesis, then the document is Catechesi in Fraternite. Then 1980, one on family, Familiaris Consortium. Then on reconciliation, Reconciliatio Penitentiae. Then we had the Synod on the Laity, Christi Fidelis Laity. Then Synod on the Seminarians in 1990, Pastoris Dabo Ovis. In 94, Synod on the Religious, Vita Consecrata. Then for some time there were no synods. Afterwards, because we were preparing to celebrate the new millennium, therefore afterwards there was the Synod on Bishops, Pastores Gregis, then Synod on the Eucharist, and then Synod on the Word of God. Like this, we had so many synods up to now. And the 2014 Extraordinary Synod and 2015 Ordinary Synod deliberations are given in this document, Amoris Laetitia, post-synodal apostolic exhortation. I would say this is the biggest of the post-synodal exhortations, having 325 paragraphs with so many, 9 chapters, 325 paragraphs are there. So I'm not going to speak of everything, but we will speak. You are ready to, you are free to interrupt me as and when you feel like, when you become tired. I always say, 2 teachers were talking with each other at sense. One of them was saying, I'm so much put out when my students look at the watches during my class. But the other teacher said, that is somewhat tolerable. My students not only look at their watches, but they take it to their ears to check whether it is running. We can imagine how much the other teacher is boring. So, as I already told you right at the introduction, you don't expect extraordinarily new things. but new outlook, new focus, new thrust, you can see. I just want to share with you the salient points in the second and the sixth chapter. The second chapter speaks about the situation of family today. What is family today? The Holy Father speaks about it. He says the future of the world and future of the church depends on the welfare of the family. Future of the church. As young priests, you should concentrate on the family. Then only the church will be healthy. What are the changes in recent times that has happened in the family? As you know, media has become very popular. Anthropological changes and cultural changes. There are some positive changes that has taken place in the family. One is equitable distribution of duties. Formerly, the wife was all the time supposed to do all the household duties. The man was working in the office or in the factory. When he comes home, he will not do anything at all. But there is a change. It is a welcome change. Men and women participate in both the work, the joys, the sufferings of the family. Another thing is so much of individualism now. You won't be surprised that in Western countries especially, even the bill in a restaurant is paid separately sometimes by the husband, by the wife. In German they will ask, zahlen Sie zusammen or getrennt? Means do you pay together or separately, they will ask. Whoever, even if it is so much of individualism, brothers and sisters, you go with your brother, they know, the hotel man knows, the servant knows that you are brothers, but he will ask always this question, do you want to pay together or separately? So much of individualism also has affected our family. And then, therefore less commitment, people become more suspicious and arrogant. This is also the Holy Father mentions. And then also so much of loneliness. And so many people do not want to choose marriage. In this context, the Holy Father tells us, priests, pastors, present marriage attractively to the people. Do not think that by ethical, biological, moral or other issues you are going to really contribute to the people. Present that joy of living together. Present the grace of God to the people. Importance of grace to the people. That's what he says. May be very harsh towards us. Some of the problems are compounded by the pastors and priests because of the family. Because we are not presenting the marriage attractively. Some of the problems are because of the pastors also. So we should form consciences. One of the important sentences in this document. We should form conscience, not replace conscience. Number 37 of this exhortation says we should form conscience, not replace conscience. It is true, we have to propose the ideal. Unity, indissolubility, sharing, mutual love, forgiveness. All these are the ideal, understood. But then, when people fail, when people are due to frailty, falter, what should be your attitude towards the families? The attitude of Jesus to the adulterous woman, the attitude of Jesus to the Samaritan. That should be our attitude. Propose the idea, all right, but when people fail, show a compassionate attitude. At the same time, the Holy Father does not approve of all the present day mentality. For example, quick unions. 1 month or 1 year, this wife, then breaks, marriage breaks, then another wife, like that also is not approved of. The culture is against the family. Many people want to postpone the wedding. The increase of pornography, prostitution, and then the decline in population, the state intervention in favor of contraception abortion, and even prostitution, state laws. All these we cannot really accept. There is also the weakening of religious practice, and then there is absence of God in the life of so many people. People find it difficult to raise children, to accept new life. People consider elder people, seniors, as burden to them. And then there is also so much of violence because of emotional problems. No proper housing, health care, children outside wedlock, the problem of migration and their pastoral needs, special children with special needs, elderly, all these problems are today's context. They need to be understood. So what should we do? Parents are exhausted, no attention to the upbringing of children. Drug use, alcoholism, gambling, other addictions. Young are uprooted sometimes. Some have violent personality, weakening of the family. Exclusive and indissoluble union is not all the time accepted. Then besides we have so many other problems like polygamy. Then there is also problem sometimes in arranged marriages against the wishes of the children, parents arranged marriage. Then simply living together, discrimination against women, domestic violence, then work-related problems, commercialization of the body, absence of father in so many families. This is the situation in today's context. You already know it, and just in the first few minutes I wanted to remind it, and the synodal fathers also, all the bishops also spoke about today's situation, you know it. That is the second chapter. Now I want to go straight away to the sixth chapter of this Amoris Laetitia. First of all, the Holy Father says, we are in need of new pastoral methods. New pastoral methods. As young priests, you should also be for new pastoral methods. So first of all, who is the first agent of pastoral care? It is not the bishop or parish priest. Families must be the agent of pastoral care. Families must be the agent of pastoral care. So through some good families, other families must be converted. So at least create some good families. They will become the agents of pastoral care. That is something new. Sometimes most of the time we think that we are the active agents and all others are passive. Even the canon on parish priests 519 says, the parish priest exercises the triamunara, the teaching, sanctifying and governing functions in collaboration with other priests and deacons and with the assistance of the lay members of Christ's faith. Who is the active subject? Not the parish priest alone. Father Joe Francis used to always say, what is the role of the ministerial priesthood? It is to make the common priesthood active. The whole community must be prophetic. The whole community must be priestly. The whole community must be kingly. Make leaders of the community. That's what right at the beginning of this sixth chapter the Holy Father says. Families are the active agents of family apostle. The next one, pastoral care today. Again and again, it's as if really warning the candidates. He's saying, it is not merely set of rules, but proposed values for today. Marriage catechism is not simply a set of rules. Propose the values for today. We have to denounce discrimination, poverty, exclusion, violence. At the parish level, everybody should be involved in the pastoral care of the families. In this context, he speaks about seminarians. Recently, he came out of the seminary. Seminarians do not know at all, some of them, about the family. Sometimes they are uprooted from their own natural family. Even when they go for holiday, some of them won't stay in the family. Let them stay in the family. The Holy Father says, let the people be involved, family people be involved as much as possible, to the extent possible, in the formation of the seminarians. Occasionally invite family people to address them. Give good formation for the future pastoral care to the seminarians. Let them not be alienated from the families. Women, lay people should come and form part of the formation process that is mentioned. Then ordained ministers unfortunately lack the necessary skill. Training of lay leaders is important. Now we go to the different stages of the pastoral care, which you already studied in the seminary from 205 onwards. First, before marriage, how you are going to prepare them. Preparing the engaged couples. You should have special program for marriage preparation. Special program. We did not follow the general program given by the church. In this context, Holy Father encourages variety. Your parish may need a particular type of program. Your diocese will need a particular type of program. What are the things that you have to say? In this context, Holy Father says, marriage catechism means, come on, recite all the prayers. That means you are prepared for marriage. Are they going, soon after marriage, going to say prayers only continuously? Yeah, that is not the prayer. So sometimes simply by heart the prayers, they think marriage catechism is over. Tell them how to love each other, get along with each other, how to be patient with each other. What are the prospective problems that are going to come? How you will understand each other. Instead of proposing these things also sufficiently, okay, prayers are important, basic prayers. They will learn by themselves. But on your part, you should have sessions by you as a priest, and many sessions by experienced family people and telling them about the tips for leading a good family life. So you have to find out, identify in your parish some family members, some couple who will really help them, at least give a session. Let them talk to them openly. Let them learn. Sometimes what most we don't, we send them to the sisters, they don't know about the family, they are fighting also. You can send them also, the girls to the sisters. But then you have to propose the values. Here he says, the entire catechism is not to be learned at the time of marriage preparation alone. Don't fill their head with too much information. The quality of the preparation is more important. Quality of the preparation is more important. You know already about the remote preparation. So already right from marriage preparation starts with the womb of the child itself. What we see is what we become. Good family atmosphere. Example of other family members. These are important. You could have in the parish discussion groups, optional talks, individual meetings to the extent it is possible. You have to take them up. Marriage preparation begins at birth, mutual sharing. Then coming to the wedding celebration. So this is very important. You already, the seminary fathers started. Wedding mass is very important. You have to involve the bride and the bridegroom in the wedding liturgy. I used to go to this Resurrection Church in Karnataka for mass frequently, formerly. One day, two couple, the bride and the bridegroom came to me, and then one Mr. Anu came to me and Karen, Father, we want you to celebrate our wedding mass. I said, the parish priest is the vicar general, that time for St. Francis, and then how can I celebrate? You are from that parish. No, Father, we want you to celebrate, they told me. Then I said, if you get consent from the parish priest, then I will consider, I said. Then afterwards, we will come with our parents, they said. They came to me 1 year before their wedding. 1 year before their wedding. And another session I had with them choosing the reading. One more session, they brought the wedding liturgy with all the songs, everything nicely prepared. The celebration was in the cathedral parish. And then they took it very seriously, the homily and things like that. Maybe they were impressed by my mass and Resurrection Church, and so they wanted by all means to celebrate the wedding. What I am saying is, some of them take it very seriously. Some of us, we don't take it seriously. In one diocese in the south, I know, there were 25 priests. And the diocesan rule and that parish rule, it seems, wedding was no homily. One priest who went and participated in the mass told me, there was no homily, Father, that is the rule, it seems, he said. The Holy Father says, people who never come to the church are coming to the funeral and the wedding. You should not omit your homily, Holy Father says in this term. People who never come to the church are coming there sometimes. You are not only addressing the couple, the bride and the bridegroom, you are addressing the whole community. The teaching of the church and the family has to be proclaimed. And then sometimes you simply say, come on, read it. One day at least parish priest or somebody else should have asked them to read. That they are really embarrassed, make all kinds of funny mistakes. Everybody laughs also. Suddenly you can't expect them in a crowd to, even if they are highly educated, to read. Did they ever read the text before at all? These are important. Good introduction, making them feel great, not getting angry during the wedding mass, and telling them to come in time, once, twice, much before, to be 10 minutes before the mass begins. So the wedding liturgy is very, very important. Lifelong it will be remembered, even if they are not prepared sufficiently. Not simply rushing through the mass. Start the mass early. Have sufficient time for the homily, for the singing, for the participation. Sometimes without their earlier preparing the reading, you may tell them, come on, read the first reading. They will make all kinds of mistakes. Who is going to read? This is our own involvement, my dear fathers. Wedding liturgy. I take every wedding liturgy seriously. Funeral mass very seriously. Be sensitive to the family. It's very important. Sensitive. For you, just one more day. What does the Protestant pastor does? As soon as he gets the information, he doesn't wait for the funeral. Nowadays, we don't go to the family to bless. As a pastor, what more important work you have? Then, at least, as soon as you get the news, if the body is at home, going there and spending 5 minutes, lifelong they will remember you with gratitude. Lifelong, how we are becoming part of the family, it's very important. It is said also, liturgical celebration, profound personal experience. Explain to them earlier about the meaning of the words of the consent. Meaning of the words of the consent. You have to explain to them, otherwise they don't understand anything. They say in a language which is not understandable to them. It seems there was an old man of 85 who did not marry at all. One day he met an old lady of 80 years of age. Then, if I had seen you earlier, I would have married you. She was also unmarried. So the man proposed to her, will you marry me? She said yes only. When he came home, he did not know whether she said yes or no. So, God of hearing or forgetfulness, he did not know it. He did not know. So he tried to trace out the mobile number and then called her. And then, are you the one this evening I met in the restaurant? Yes, I am the one. I proposed to you to marry me. Did you say yes or no? I am not sure, he said. I said yes only. My God, I am now relieved. You said yes. And she said it seems, I am also relieved now. I am also happy now. Why? Because I did not know which stupid I said yes. And this old man did not know what she said. This woman woman did not know, old lady did not know to whom she said. So let them know to whom they are saying, what they are saying. It is our responsibility to explain the marriage right. And actually this Anup and Karen, they both chose the prayers also. Father, there are 5 prayers, 5, 6 prayers I saw. For an opening prayer you have this Father. For this prayer you have this Father. There was so much touched by their example. And this year on June 19th, they came and then Father, for our first wedding anniversary, we want to take you out for dinner. We went to Orion Mall in Toscana, we had a nice dinner with them. I was very happy. They remembered that I blessed their marriage and then they came and called me also. Not because of the dinner, but the way they prepared for the Mass, not the way they prepared for the Mass. Okay. Liturgy of the Word, homily, he said. Sometimes we don't exploit the text of the homily. I was always sharing this experience. Tobias 10th chapter. We take only what is given in the text. Especially in the context of joint families in our culture. There, Tobias, father-in-law, telling him, henceforth, he tells the daughter, Tobias' father-in-law tells the daughter, your parents are his parents. Such beautiful text. Your parents are his parents. Hereafter, we are not your parents. Your father-in-law and mother-in-law are your parents. Have you ever made use of that text? I do not know. Then that the mother telling the daughter, the father telling the daughter, henceforth I don't want to hear anything negative about you. I don't want to hear anything negative about you. How beautiful. Same thing she says, the mother-in-law says to the son-in-law, you are my son. You are my son. In front of God I am entrusting my daughter to you. Do not make her weep. In front of God I am giving my daughter to you. Do not make her weep. What a beautiful text, powerful text. Text like this. You can take on another occasion. I was taking, for example, Luke 6 chapter about the sermon on the plain. Jesus says, love your enemies. And then he says a series of things. Do good to them, pray for them, bless them. If one strikes on the right cheek, show the left also, that means be patient. And then be generous. If they ask you to walk 1 mile, walk 2. I don't find things Jesus tells even to enemies. Even to our enemies. To our enemies we have to do good. To our enemies we have to speak well to them, to speak well of them. That is what Bene Dire, speak well. For our enemies we have to pray for. We should be patient, we should be generous. If you do 5 things to each other who are life partners, your marriage will be very good. You are promising each other. See, this is an occasion to really communicate the word of God, my dear friends. Really communicate the word of God. Then okay, accompanying in the first years of marriage. Now, Father Richard, Bishop Ayapalli want to accompany you in the first years of your priestly life. Same thing is important. Call in gratitude to what you have received here. All those who married in the last 5 years, please come. 1 day seminar. Ask a person to give talk to them. They have problem. They come across. It is the way of gathering, accompanying in the first years of married life. Very important. What are the problems? It would be very good. And then dialogue, decision making, listening to the conscience. In these you have to train them. In this you have to train them. Resources of experienced couples. So okay, the first, what are the resources for this formation, permanent formation of the married after ordination? First, experienced couple. Holy Father above all others mentions experienced couples, God-fearing couples, devout couples who stand by the church. You have to tap their resources. Never forget. Keep in touch with them. Like that in another homily I was reading. So one priest, so I am a priest, bachelor, celibate. What am I to say to the married people? Then an elderly couple advised the priest, Father, tell them these three things, Father. First of all, tell them, Father, marriage is a commitment. Marriage is a commitment. Tell them, Father, that each of them is the greatest gift God has given. Second point. These are given by the couple. Marriage is a commitment. Each of them is the greatest gift given to them by God. And the third point, Father, so many problems come because people don't know the priority of values. Stephen Covey says, the first things first. The main thing in life is to keep the main thing as the main thing. 7 Habits, famous Stephen Covey. The main thing is to keep the main thing as the main thing. God first, the spouse next, then only other relatives, then only work, then only money. When people change the priorities, then the problems come. These are the 3 points the elderly couple gave to that priest. I was reading. So same thing also. Experienced couple, then Sunday Eucharist, liturgy, devotional practice, quality time together. Quality time together. Sometimes some husbands may spend time with their friends, but quality time together. Then pastors must encourage them to grow in faith, confession, prayer. These are the means of formation. Then, as you know, there are some special families with a different kind of marriage, disparity of cult and mixed marriages. So you have to help them in a special way. You should not lose the Catholic spouse. Have contact with them. They have given the promise, all right, not to defect from the Catholic faith. How you are following them up? How are their children growing? Help of parishes, movements, schools, important. And then meeting the family. When I was in Germany in those days, 92 to 94, whenever baptism is there, the 2 days before the baptism, the parish priest must go, even if there are only few practicing Catholics. Parish priest will go to the family of baptism, and then 1 hour at least he will spend. Parents meeting the parents, meeting the godparents. 4 of them personal catechism there, explaining the whole rite. Some of us sometimes we give baptism simply like that. We don't know. We are not seen. Then we ask, who is the mother? Who is the godfather? Who is the godmother? Though only few of you are there. If you are able to, come on, why can't you start this? Before baptism, at least one day the mother is not able to travel to the church. If you can find time, I want to meet the godparents and you and other relatives if they can, telling them about baptism. Then it will be a unique moment. Unique moment in there. But we need time. But we have time for our mobile phone now. Time for our TV now. If only we were able to spend time like that, it would be good. Meet the family there, in the family. Tell them that I am coming to prepare you for baptism. So many things you can say. Spend an hour. Have a nice tea. Very good. Wonderful. If one of you does it after listening to me, I am going to be very happy. The Lord will give me heaven. Okay. Then the other things also. That's what the Holy Father again and again, his own way of behaving is, missionary has to go where the people are. Don't expect, we are not stationary priests. We have to be missionary priests in our parishes. A true missionary goes to the people. Don't always expect the people to come to you. True missionary must go to the people. Even when you go for house blessing, then sometimes they take Our Lady statue from house to house. Holy Father mentions that also. It is an occasion to go to that family and pray. Take advantage of these sacramental occasions and proclaim to them the word of God. Proclaim to them the word of God. Otherwise, people will never listen to them. Then the Holy Father speaks about today's challenges of finance, problems in workplace, emotional, social, and special difficulties, lack of fulfillment. Some of them have old wounds, childhood experience. We have to be really understanding to them. And again, Holy Father comes to the important point of this exhortation, pastoral care for the marriages that have broken down. Pastoral care of the marriages that have broken down. Here, sometimes the separation is inevitable. For you, it is. Suppose somebody scolds you, you can go next day. The wife is not able to go. How long so many innocent wives are simply silently suffering and shedding tears in order to preserve their life, spiritual life and physical life of the children. It becomes inevitable. Without understanding the woman, don't go on scolding. I saw one parent is simply abusing the girl. You should die there only. Why did you come? The church doesn't say that you should not come on. Sometimes separation becomes inevitable. I am not speaking about people who run after greener pastures seeking more pleasure, not that category. But sometimes separation is inevitable. We have to be compassionate to them. Sometimes separation is morally necessary to be free from exploitation and humiliation. And we should use our special discernment towards the separated, divorced, and abandoned. There are cases and cases. Sometimes the situation is really horrible. The woman is abandoned, so she comes to the mother's house. There she falls in love with somebody. Understand the woman. Maybe what she did is not right till getting her marriage annulled by our ecclesiastical tribunal. But then don't abuse her. She was abandoned for 3 years. You did not bother about her. Family did not bother about her. One man came forward to take care of her. In the process, they also became intimate. Why can't we be sympathetic to her, the Holy Father asks? Why can't we be sympathetic to her? In this context only, the Holy Father, I was telling the other day also, makes use of all genders. Some of them are in an invalid marriage. But then do you not speak about, already in Vatican II, the seeds of the Word of God in other religions? The Holy Spirit working in other religion, even though in the initial way, not in a perfect way. So also, some are invalidly married. We never reach the top. We never reach the perfection. Why can't you see they are loving each other, very kind to the children, another person validly married, every day beating the children? What will be acceptable before God? What will be more acceptable before God? Abusing the children, validly married. You said, okay, you are validly married. This woman was abandoned by another man. She lives with him. She married him civilly after getting civil divorce. Still, ecclesiastical annulment is not obtained. You are condemning her. There are cases and cases. Discern the culpability, imputability is not the same in each case. You do not sit in Moses' chair and then cast stones in the form of your so-called master. You are sitting in Moses' chair and casting thrones in the form of your so-called master. The Holy Father says. Then we have to accompany them, if possible, rectify the marriage. So, in this context only, Holy Father has brought about the reform in the new tribunal laws. You know, last December 8th it came into effect. Some marriages are apparently invalid. Within 1 month you can finish those marriages. Declare them invalid. Don't get any tribunal fees. Free of charge. Please rectify people and help people, he says in number 244. Children of the people who are invalidly married, they are the innocent victims. What mistake they did?
I myself feel sorry for my attitude in younger days. The children did not. So illegitimate child. outside the marriage. All his classmates getting communion, he is not getting communion. Those days it was like, what mistake the children did? The children did not do any mistake. Be sensitive to them. As long as there is somebody to assure the Catholic upbringing, a grandmother will not baptize them. Admit them to communion. Do not take revenge on these innocent children. Then you should not take revenge on those people. Think of the harm to the children. Treat the parents also respectfully. Certain complex situations are there. Deal with each case differently. There are so many families, single parent families, and then problems when the loved one dies. All these families deserve your pastoral care. That's what the Holy Father in this 7th chapter says. One of the controversial chapters is the 8th chapter, where the Holy Father almost stops short of giving communion to them. He doesn't say in the main text, but each case has to be studied very carefully, and then the pastors, according to the directives of the bishop, should take action. But he has not said, even now the teaching of familiaris consortio and sacramentum caritatis remain. That we do not give communion to people in invalid marriages. But in some cases, you can make a discernment. The person is not at all responsible. After consulting the bishop, then you may take a decision. But practically speaking, in our situation, there are 8 invalidly married people. But never deny communion to the divorced people. Divorced and remarried only cannot be given communion. But divorced people living alone, you should never deny. You should never deny. That you should be sure. In these cases, you can make a discernment, he says. That becomes a point of controversy among many. But in our village setup, it is very difficult. 8 families are there, and then 2 families you give means, because imputability is less, responsibility is less here, then the other 6 will be fighting with us. That is a very good. We have to use our prudence also. Then the Holy Father says, do not disregard the constructive element even present in these broken families and new families. And then we should think according to the way of mercy. Do not condemn anyone forever. Already in the 6th chapter it is mentioned. Do not condemn anyone forever. That's very important. Charity is unmerited, unconditional and gratuitous. Charity is unmerited, unconditional and gratuitous. Be sensitive. Avoid judgments. Do not make the people suffer more by your remarks. And then he says, some of these people are involved in social work, service, care of the orphans. Some of these people in invalid marriages. He says, he quotes St. Paul, love covers a multitude of sin. Will not the Lord look at all these good works and forgive them? Why are you condemning them? The most touching passages for me is these 2 parts of the Holy Faith, the whole Amoris Laetitia. One thing is, he says, you see good things in other religion, other cultures. Why can't you see something good in these families? The second one is this: when you do good, when you are honest, when you keep justice, God forgives you. Transmit the same forgiveness. These are the 2, for me personally, 2 important salient features of Amoris Laetitia, showing the heart of the Heavenly Father and our Holy Father, Pope Francis. Help them understand the divine pedagogy of grace in their lives and offer assistance so they can reach fullness. Integrate them in the variety of ways, but at the same time you have to avoid scandal. That is understood. You have to avoid scandal. He says this exhortation is not a new set of rules. but it is only showing a new pastoral outlook. Degree of responsibility, as I said, not equal in all cases. There can be mitigating circumstances. Do not call all these people are living in a state of mortal sin. Do not call these people broken families, remarried families. They are in mortal sin without sanctifying grace. Do not sit on the chair of Moses and judge with superiority and superficiality. Judging, you don't know the problem. You are a celibate for life. You yourself have problems with regard to celibacy. Woman who has experienced sexual pleasure or man who has experienced, you want him to be a celibate, but you are not speeding up the marriage process. God is compassionate to him. Why are you strict to him? Directly the Holy Father asks. The way of charity, via caritatis. Love covers a multitude of sins. 1 Peter 4:8. I said Paul. Charity is the first law. John 15:12. Galatians 5:14. Atone for your sins through righteousness. Daniel 4:24. Accompany with mercy and peace. At the same time, Holy Father says, some want to follow a rigorous pastoral care. Some of them are saying, only when you are strict, then others will follow you. But I tell you, the way of Jesus is not very rigorous. I believe, honestly, way of Jesus is the way of mercy. I believe Christ wants us to be merciful, not put many conditions on mercy and empty it of concrete meaning and real significance. This is how the Holy Father speaks of it. So I just gave, especially the second chapter, 8th chapter, the situation of family today, and then the various levels that we have to really accompany the families and see their care. Now you can, another 20 minutes are there, we will discuss something. I am open to any question. As I always tell the students, if anybody makes me angry in the class, then I take them out for dinner. Yes, only in the class. Outside I can be angry. Yes. Yes, Father. Welcome.
Father, initially I was not that I had gone through this document.
Yeah.
What I want to ask is,
Yeah.
Holy Father is vividly explaining this document.
Yeah.
But in fact, he is not giving conclusion for all the problems that are existing in the church. He is hinting at the theology, moral theology, but at the same time, no conclusions for it. When we are really encountering problems in the parishes, at times it is difficult to stop people not using communion. But if at all these people receive in spite of the sin, is there any wrong? When we are in sin, in spite of their sinful nature, if they have gone wrong, when God is merciful, can they receive communion, though the church has not? What I mean is that at times we are judging from our perspective, from the church perspective. God may be more than what we are thinking of. So, would it be possible? See, sometimes what we do, we take decisions from them for the betterment of the community.
Yeah.
In grace, in sin, we experience more grace, as St. Paul says, and the church also teaches.
Okay.
Can be a little more compassionate in those grounds.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you for reading the document. I am very happy about it. People who have time kindly read. I am only summarizing. That is the first point. Secondly, in the introduction itself, the Holy Father said very clearly, there are two extremes. One is people who want total change, and the other extreme is people who think by laws you can solve all problems. Holy Father says, I don't want to belong to both. Completely total change. Those who expect total changes, people in invalid marriages can be given communion. That's what people are thinking. Divorced and remarried, not canonically valid marriage, they can receive communion. Holy Father says, no, I'm not going to say that. The only thing he comes to close to it is discernment, personally discernment of the pastor and discernment of both together. In that case, the pastor feels that the person can receive communion, he can, but that is a thing. The Holy Father has not abrogated familiaris consocium. One thing you have to be very clear. So, regarding your question, so where we speak of denial of communion, Canon 915. The pastors must deny communion. What is it? One of the things, one is very clear. Those who are excommunicated and interdicted, ferales sententia, or late sententia but declared, they should not be given communion. The third part is those who persist in manifest grave sin. Persist in manifest grave sin. So far also the practice of the church was that, okay, they are in invalid marriage, they want to receive communion, till their marriage is rectified, declared valid by the church, they will refrain from sexual relationship, means they can receive. That is the teaching of the church. As of now, the Holy Father also doesn't say publicly, you give communion to all these people. He wants to go into each individual case, of course, with the directives, keeping in mind the directives of the bishop. Suppose some divorced and remarried people go to some other church and then receive communion, that is completely weak, that is another thing. So, in order to protect the other marriages and give the due dignity to the sacrament, even though a marriage is in fact invalid before God, the community cannot know what is before God invalid, what is before us invalid, as long as it is declared as invalid by the Catholic Church. By the Catholic Church, then we are not to give communion. That is what we are asked to practice. It must be declared invalid. That is the practice, because we are going to that level only. Marriage, you are against unity and indissolubility. You say it was invalid marriage. Invalid marriage is not bound by unity and indissolubility. That's why the Holy Father says, the tribunal act fast. Sometimes be continent. Sometimes control yourself. If it was really invalid, then there is possibility of declaring it invalid within 45 days. Within a question of 45 days, you can be without them. That is the whole thing. So I want to receive communion, I will continue this relationship, I will have nothing to do with the norms of the church. That is not the right attitude. So that's what the Holy Father is very clear, but that particular statement, the so-called discernment, that is very difficult. Pastors have to use it with prudence. So in the Western countries, when they are discerning, there is no problem. It is mainly the problem of the West, where there are more diverse and remarried people, and they only come to the church, participating there. Out of 100%, 20% come to the church. Out of these 20%, 15% are diverse and remarried. Only 5 people you can give communion. What can they do? So now the Holy Father wants to say, but he has not completely changed the law. One of the accusations against the Holy Father is, why can't he be clear like Pope Francis, like Pope Benedict and Pope John Paul II? That's what. No, not clear. Clarity is there. For me, there is clarity. It depends on situation and situation. The diocesan level, how many are there? Then the bishop says, avoiding scandal, you have to go ahead. When there will be a scandal, don't give. That's all. In our situation, there will be a scandal. As I said, when there are 8 families, 2 you are giving, there will be a big scandal, there will be a big problem. Don't give. That's all. Okay. Let the questions be also brief. Answer can be longer. Okay.
This is a case, one boy, Catholic boy,
Yeah.
fell in love with a Protestant girl, and he went to the Protestant and married in the Protestant church.
Okay.
And once he married, he brought the girl to his house, and now they want to become Catholic. So what we can.
Yeah. In this marriage, what was missing is the canonical form. Permission is of course for lawfulness. 1125, you have to get the permission. Now, what to do? Then you have to, one thing is permission for lawfulness. More about canonical form, you have to celebrate the marriage in the canonical form. Call them privately and make them renewal of consent.
The girl has to be received Catholic.
No, sure, we don't compel her. At least let him give the promise. He will not go from the Catholic faith. 1125. He will not defect from the Catholic faith. He will do all in his power to bring up the children in the Catholic faith, and then both parties must be informed about the Catholic faith. Don't compel the girl.
Now, girl is ready to.
If he is ready to come to profession of faith, that's okay. Or if I'm saying if the girl is not come, girl is ready, want to become a Catholic, no problem. First let her.
First he has made affidavit saying that I reject Catholic faith.
No, doesn't matter. Now you can withdraw always. Anybody can withdraw. Yes, Lawrence.
For pastoral reasons, I raised this question last class also. Sometimes we say the couples, those who got married already, to get married in civil and to come to the church in order to be easier to register the certificate there itself. So what do you say about this?
So, if one of the things is the church law, Canon 22, it is called canonization of civil. Canonization of civil. Church law always tells us to follow civil law unless it is against divine law. One thing is, civil law allows abortion, we cannot allow. It is against divine law. Civil law allows homosexual marriages in some countries, and prostitution in some countries it is legal, we cannot. One thing is, we should not follow such civil. The second one is, when there is an equivalent provision in canon, then you have to give preference to canon. Equal provision in canon. If civil law demands, for example in France, the marriage of the church is not recognized, the divorce, the annulment also not recognized. At least in our country, our marriage is recognized, only that we have to send the entry to the government. So in that case, respect our canon law first. If civil law respects canon law, you don't despise canon. That is my one suggestion. In Pondicherry, those with French citizenship, we always say, first class in Goa, first you have to go to the civil law and then marry in the government office. Then only you should come to that. That is our practice. Those with French citizenship. That is very few. So otherwise, when civil law respects, you as a priest don't disregard canon.
Yeah. Some of the countries they agree with the gay marriage.
Yeah.
And but for the church it is according to the
not marriage. Yes, it is not marriage. Yes.
In this case, the gay people come to the sacrament communion. How to?
Yeah, it is a hard question, especially in countries like America. For us, marriage is a union of man and woman, 1055. That is what is marriage. Now, even in this document, the Holy Father says, respect the gay people. Don't despise them, but they don't have right. If they are married, they don't have right to communion. As long as the government cannot interfere, then we have to fight our case. Some of the ecclesial rights which one gets by the church, the government cannot compel us to give. A homosexual feeling sorry, he comes and asks, that's different. One who is publicly married, then just as we cannot give communion to them, that is our practice, we should not give. We have to fight our case in the court, that's all.
And one more thing, this is just not a question. And the popes are now and then they bring out new exhortations and all those things.
Yeah.
The priests are not updating with these documents.
That's why you are coming here. Yeah, I am happy.
Some of the priests.
Yeah,
and
that is true. That is a big problem.
That they are not aware what Pope is, and they are not able to help them because one of the examples, it is a disparity equal to marriage. They have to obtain dispensation from the
Special.
Okay. Tomorrow is the marriage, and today is coming for the dispensation. That means how parish has prepared them.
Yeah.
The letter is sending, telling them.
Yeah, it is a real point of concern. One of the things is updating. Not only representatives, but all the people should be there. Of course, when during the updating the old things are repeated, that will be boring only. So I try to summarize the old things, all right. But then people should be very inquisitive. Father said that he read the document. Very happy. Like that, some are reading. Some are reading. Others who don't read also must be given an opportunity, even monthly once. Such 1 hour common talk by really input sessions. Because in the parish sometimes we don't have sufficient time to read. That would be really like reading 100 books. Reading 100 books. Keeping yourself up to date. You know, Father Legrand, how every day about what happened, the terrorist attack in France, not only because his country, what happened in this country. Everything he tells us. Instead of our learning, at the age of 90, the man is so up to date. So up to date about what is going on. Besides walking 3 kilometers or so every day for walk, 3:30 to 5:30, this man is so up to date, alert mentally. Not only physically healthy, mentally healthy. In 90, you will forget most of the things. In 90, instead of opening his door, I may open my door. So like that it might happen. That is, like that we have to be ongoing formation. So, whose responsibility can 279 says it is the cleric's responsibility. Clerics 279, ongoing formation, permanent formation. The bishop must arrange for it for the diocese priest. 555 says BF's responsibility. BF or dean shares in the responsibility of the church. That is it. They always say, if you want to be young and energetic, do some good every day, learn something new every day. Learn something new every day, do some good every day. That is the best way. Yes, Father, another Father. Any other question? Yes, Father, please.
There is a couple, Father. They applied for the divorce. And civilly, they
civilly they apply.
Civil and
ecclesiastic.
Civil she has they got to divorce. And now she is at the mother's home.
Yeah.
The parish priest told the girl not to receive communion and not to read the mass during the mass or the lecture or readings. Is it right? But they are staying separate. Is it right to avoid?
I don't think it is right according to me, in my opinion. One thing is, if she is remarried, that is another thing.
That's what.
Remarried, that's another thing. And at the same time, it differs from parish to parish. Some parishes take it very seriously, even though you are separated. They think she is the guilty party. That man is innocent. She left him away and coming in spite of his asking again and again. She wants to make a show of herself. She wants to win. For some time, maybe we do not know who is the guilty party. Who is the guilty party? Sometimes this woman may be the guilty party. The man may be the innocent party. In such a situation, the parishioners themselves want it like that way out. But otherwise, if she is innocent, suppose she has been abandoned. I as a parish priest will ask her to read. Still she is coming to the church and she is this. So you have to judge the case in the concrete circumstance. Okay, let her wait, let her lead prayer meeting and all other things. Let her not read the gospel or the first reading there. Okay, yes.
Well, it's about micro Christian family or Catholic families.
Yeah.
These days we are speaking about the third child in the Christian family. Say there is a very the preferences the church is given to third child. So whether it is going in the air or whether actually whether can it be possible and how far the church is successful in that idea.
Church is giving extra concession. Yeah, in France and all the government is giving concession. In some places, if the church is giving concession, promoting large families. Promoting large families. That is also dealt with in this document, different places. Encourage children or God's blessings, as many children as possible. You can really take care of them. Don't think it is. At the same time, he also speaks of Humane Vitae, where planned parenthood. That is also responsible in some countries, in some families. Both are said. So finally, what is the final question? How far it is successful?
Yeah, concretely, whether it is successful.
Yeah, successful. Not all churches give. Our diocese, we don't have any program of that sort.
In Mysore, we have started.
Mysore, very good. That That is good if they are bringing forth many children, it is very good. It is very good if they have the resources. It is very good. Encouraging. This is one of the means of encouraging. Your homily, your concession, all these things are encouraging. In France, government itself gives the money. For the third child, fourth child, government itself gives everything free education. Free education.
Mandate is introduced for the third child.
Okay. Now they are afraid, I think, of the decreasing population. One of the concern is the decreasing population. That's good. That's good. It has to be encouraged. Where it is practical or not, okay, 100 families are there, at least 3. One of the consideration is finance. They are taking care of. So let them not have that preoccupation. Let them give birth to children. That is the thing. It may be successful in a few cases. It's good. In France, it works also. After this system, they have increased the population a little at least. Already 15-20 years that policy. Yes.
Just to answer my father last question.
Yeah.
We have a Protestant girl getting married to a Catholic.
Yeah.
It's a canonical form. But also, if the Protestant church, which saint the person belongs to, find out. Yes, whether their baptism is recognized. Once then we get the permission, then we can apply to the bishop's house or whatever. Get permission for giving to bring them into full communion. Give them confirmation, then we go ahead with the canonical form. That would be.
Yeah, correct. No, I understand. Baptism is valid. No, it is an established church. First of all, we say mixed marriage only when baptism is valid. Baptism is valid. Okay, all our preparations have been done. And I was not sure whether the girl wanted to become a Catholic. In this case, wants to become a Catholic. Then of course, she had, with the Protestants, we recognize only 2 sacraments. One is baptism, the other is marriage. So all other sacraments they do not have. So she should be taught to make confession. Though, taught to make confession also. Then as she said, the confirmation, everything understood. Yeah. Yes. Any valid marriage between 2 baptized. That's what 1055 says. Valid marriage between 2 baptized, not 2 Catholics. 1 Catholic, 1 Protestant, no problem. 2 Protestants according to their law, no problem. Any valid marriage between 2 baptized is a sacrament.
So to enter into marriage,
now your rectification day only you can enter. On the other hand, even in this document it is mentioned, even canonists make mistakes. Even canonists make mistakes. Suppose 2 Hindus are married, they want to become Catholic. Some of the priests are once again blessing their marriage. That is absolutely wrong. Because by baptism, it automatically becomes sacrament. I was surprised that that point is mentioned in this Amoris Laetitia. So when I went to Calicut to address the clergy, when I went to Visakhapatnam during the Holy Week, Calicut I went after the Holy Week, then there also canonist was arguing. And one of our own diocesan canonist, doctor, he was also telling me, Father, I doubt, Father, we have to bless their marriage. You don't enter their marriage. You only say they have received baptism on such and such a day. But if they have their earlier civil marriage or their right marriage date, you can enter within bracket. But you cannot give marriage certificate to the Hindus who have become Catholics after their marriage. Please be sure about it. Even canonists have doubt about it. Yeah. 2 Hindus are married according to their tradition or civilly. Both of them as husband and wife come to you and receive baptism. Do not bless their marriage once again. Their natural bond by the reception of baptism has become the sacramental bond. But you are very sure, many experienced priests also not sure.
In this for people, how to explain?
How to explain? So, you do rectification only when the marriage is invalid. You don't make a valid marriage once again rectified. It is like calling them, all these days you are living in Karnataka, illegally you are living. Don't call them like this.
Register the marriage.
Register, no. Don't enter the register. In the baptism column, in the bracket you can say everything.
In case they
Ask for marriage certificate, you cannot give.
they are living as a Christian, husband and wife.
Living as Christians. No, I am speaking about two Hindus who got baptized.
After baptism, they become a Christian.
Yeah, then they are married in sacramental.
After a few years, there is a misunderstanding between husband and wife. And they have to go to the tribunal in case.
Yes.
What is that situation?
At this situation, but you have to give the baptism certificate only. Their sacramental marriage, baptism certificate. You don't give marriage certificate.
But annulment?
Annulment, it is, if it is invalid, it can be annulled. If they did not have sexual relationship, then ratified and non-consummated marriage ask for dispensation. Before becoming Christians, dissolving the bond is more easy because it is non-sacramental bond. Now it becomes a sacramental bond. The law says sacramental marriage and consummated marriage cannot be broken by anybody on earth, even by the Pope. Sacramental and consummated marriage. Sacrament, yes. Now their marriage has become sacramental and consummated. Afterwards they would have had. Before they consummated, afterwards they did not consummate, means still there is possibility of dissolving the marriage.
My question on this Catholic boy and Protestant girl. Once again, you told we have to receive them to Catholic faith.
Receive them now?
No, girl.
Okay.
And then again we have to bless the marriage.
Yeah, their marriage is invalid. First marriage is invalid because of the Catholic boy. He is bound by the canonical form. He did not follow the form. So therefore you have to rectify the marriage. Only in that marriage what is missing, consent is there. There is no impediment. Only disparity of cult is impediment. There is no impediment. The third thing is missing, that is canonical form. So you have to celebrate it in canonical form. Unless you apply for dispensation from canonical form also. But that is very rare case. We call it retroactive validation. That is very rare. Anything? Oh, we have come 35. Any other someone? Any other question anybody want to ask? Yes,
it's a one good Catholic family.
Yes.
One of the members of the family married 2 years back, but since 5-6 years, that man cannot perform marital act with his wife because of her sickness.
Okay.
And she cannot.
From right from the first day or after something?
After one child.
After one child, no problem. Yes.
And now family members trying to get another girl for the day.
That is wrong.
But that wife says that you marry one girl, but you have to marry my own sister because she can take care of my child.
No, in this case, who cannot perform sexual act?
Wife is important because of sickness.
Wife has become important.
She is sick.
Sick, not already she cannot become important after one child. No, after one child she doesn't want sex at all.
Not because of sickness. She can
Here, what I am saying is it is divine law. Unity of marriage is divine law. It is not by mutual agreement. It is not by sickness. All these things do not come into the picture. It is a difficult thing. Secular people without faith, they can go, but we believe by unity of marriage. Only when this wife dies, then he can marry another. No question of compromise with regard to the unity of marriage and indissolubility of marriage. The husband, another person will say, the husband has gone for delivery for 3 months, wife has gone for delivery. I cannot, for time pass, I will have the kitchen girls. You cannot have for 3 months, he wants urgently. You cannot have. It is immoral. No, nobody can. Even your father, your mother, wife herself.
No, now case is she has already married her sister and she has a child. That person goes to church and receives communion and everything, and is the vice president.
No, that if who that man.
Yes.
Yeah, this has to be forbidden. It's not correct. He is an invalid second marriage. Somewhere, okay. If he goes unknown place, no problem. You know it answer. There is no compromise.
In that case, you will traditional with the marriage.
You cannot, because first marriage is still valid.
I gave the time of the church.
Yeah, you are right. What you did is right. Okay, we'll conclude, I think. No?
When we were in the philosophy seminary, Father used to take us the class, the conference, the handbook. So beautifully, Father was articulating the rules and regulations of the seminary. And more than the rules and regulations, he was just highlighting the spirit of the rules and regulations. And that is being proved today. We have not watched the movie Kabali. So after listening, Father, this itself is more than Kabali film. And we know the family is the basic unit of the society. Post-synodal apostolic exhortation, Amoris, Laetitia, Father has been beautifully highlighting the spirit of the law towards the pastoral approaches towards the families, the Jesus approach. He has just mentioned about how Jesus looked into the people, those who came to him. He was so much compassionate, so much merciful, like that of the Father. So in this regard, I take this opportunity to congratulate Father Roy and Dr. Roy and Father Richard Victor for their support and the classes today that we had. So on behalf of everybody standing here, I thank you.
So we shall come back at 11 o'clock for the next talk.
Thank you. Nice again. It is going on, huh? Congratulations. Thank you.